Yeah, the real key tenets of the Franklin Income Fund are diversification of our sources of income, really taking a dynamic approach to our asset allocation, and having a high and consistent current income for our investors. So when we think about diversification, it's really looking across all the parts of the equity market and the fixed income market to really give our investors diverse sources of income, which can be reliable and consistent over time. The second part, that dynamic part, is being able to respond to changing markets, being able to alter our investment and our asset allocation based on the opportunities being presented in the market. You'll look at the history of the fund and see really dynamic swings in our asset allocation. Where we sit today is a little closer to neutral as we see those broad cross currents across equities and fixed income a little more balanced. But with the uncertainty and with the market volatility we've seen over the last couple of weeks, we are seeing a very quickly shifting set of opportunities. So we would expect to see a lot of dynamic changes within the portfolio over the next several months. So our asset allocation broadly is about 50% fixed income, 50% equity today. That's in line with our benchmark. The history of the fund is we are rarely at our benchmark. So we would expect some changes, especially as the market volatility continues in the weeks and months ahead. If we look below the surface of our asset allocation and look just into fixed income, our benchmark is 25% non-investment grade. We have about 21% in non-investment grade today. So underweight those non-investment grade or high yield portions of the fixed income market. Now that is an area that's under immense stress over the last couple of weeks. We are finding some significant opportunities to re-engage with those markets and reallocate towards an area that we are relatively underweight today. On the flip side, we are overweight some of the higher quality areas of fixed income. Those would be investment grade corporates, as well as treasuries and agency mortgages, which have a much lower risk profile, and does give us the ability to re-engage in some of those parts of the corporate credit curve and credit curve that are lower down the quality spectrum. So that's where we sit within fixed income. On the equity side, like I said, we are roughly 50%, so neutral with our benchmark or central allocation. Today, we have been more tilted towards those defensive equities. We are in the process of rotating that right now, finding those ideas within some of the growthier oriented parts of the market. The equity linked note portion of the portfolio really gives us that opportunity and that outlet to look at those low or non-dividend yielding equities and create securities that can benefit our investors. So Franklin Income Fund, your traditional 50% fixed income, 50% equity benchmark, while we have a dynamic asset allocation around there, our center point is 50-50, a balanced allocation between the two. It focuses on dividend paying equities and then all of the portions of the fixed income market with a US focus. So 90% plus of our weighting within that fund is US. The Global Income Fund is a 60-40 portfolio, so 60% equity, 40% fixed income, so more of a equity tilt within that portfolio, where our benchmark is once again still with that dynamic asset allocation. In addition to that higher equity weighting for our center post, it does have more of a global investment universe. So we have more like 50% content in the United States, 50% non-US, so much more balanced across the globe. And in addition, more of a growth bent on the style side versus what tends to be a little more towards the core side for Franklin Income. So If you think about the two, Franklin Income Fund, US focused, 50% fixed income, 50% equity with that dynamic asset allocation around it. When you think about global income, 60% equity, 40% fixed income, a global investment universe, as well as having a bit more of a growth style bent than the Franklin Income Fund.
国民理财从富兰克林开始。
投资一定有风险，基金投资有赚有赔，申购前应详阅公开说明书。